I'm a music teacher and I've never heard the music from Super Mario Bros. 2 OST in my life ever. So join me as I hear this for the very first time, discover hidden connections in the music, and maybe you'll learn something about music along the way. Let's have some fun and jump in with title theme. Let's do it. Interesting. Oh my gosh, so many cool things here. Now, here's what I want to line up for you here. All right, it's this idea of moving these things chromatically. So let's understand what's happening here to create this feeling, this playful feeling. It has to do with taking a chord, a major chord, and then moving the third and fifth up and down, if I'm hearing it correctly. Okay, so it goes chromatic and then it goes diatonic, and I'm explaining what both of those mean to you so you understand what on earth I'm talking about here, when I'm talking about this playful feeling. So this playful feeling, we start with a chord. Now you may be saying, well, what on earth is a chord? Well, a chord is when we take a note, and you're gonna go, well, what's a note? Okay, well, here's a note, here's a note, here's a note, here's a note, here's a note. Basically, it's a music sound. Now, if we take more than one music sound, we put them together, we're gonna get what's called a chord. Multiple notes together is gonna create a chord, or harmony would be another way of putting that. Okay, so we take multiple notes together, we create harmony. Now, let's understand what's happening here. We have a major chord, and a major chord is 1, 3, 5. A major triad in, closed voicing root position. Closed voicing root position. What does that mean, and what does major triad mean? Okay, so major triad means we're going to have all of the notes from a major scale. And you're like, well, what on earth is a major scale? Well, check this out. We can take any note and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And first I'm gonna tell you about the connection between 1 and 8, and then I'll tell you about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the connection between 1 and 8 is that 1 will be a sound wave that's gonna oscillate or cycle. You can think about a sound wave going through the air. It's gonna be at half the speed that this one over here is. All right, so this one goes at half the speed this is, and you're actually gonna be able to hear that connection in your little ears there. So maybe you've got big ears or even medium sized. It doesn't matter what size your ears are, you're gonna be able to hear this. Okay, so you hear this, you hear this. Type a 2 in the chat if you can hear that there's some type of connection between these two notes. Even if you know nothing about music, you can go, yeah, something sounds similar there. One's clearly higher than the other, but there's something similar. Type a 2 in the chat if you could hear that there is something connecting those two notes together. And show me those 2s in the chat. Well, here's what I'll say. So we have these two notes that are mathematically related. Your brain can actually spot the connection between these two. And this difference between 1 and 8 is called an octave. Oct, like an octagon or an octopus, has 8 legs. Well, an octagon doesn't have 8 legs, but an octopus does. You might be saying, well, technically they're not legs, they're tentacles. Whatever, you get the idea. It's got 8. Okay, now, that's what's separating the 1 and the 8. Now, between the 1 and the 8, we have a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And you might be saying, well, what on earth is a whole step and a half step? Well, a half step is gonna be the smallest distance between two notes. And you can think about it as being jaws. That Jaws theme, that is a half step. And if we go 1 half step plus a half step, it doesn't quite sound like Jaws anymore, because that's going to be a whole step. Half plus half as a whole, right? If Sally has half a pizza, John has half a pizza, and we put those two halves of pizza together, we have a whole pizza, right? So we have a whole step, which is going to be the distance between the two notes. Half step, whole step, whole step, whole step. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take the 1, we're going to take the 3, we're going to take the 5, we're going to stack them all together, 1, 3, 5. That's how we get our major chord. Now, what's happening here is we take the 1, 3, 5, and we're going to bring the 1, 3, and 5 down. So it's going to be flat 5 and flat 3, which means we're just going to come down 1/2 step. But we're going to keep C as the lowest note. Now, here's what happens next. We hear that 1, 3, 5, down 1/2 step. Now, it goes to... What that means is instead of being 3 and 5, the next two notes we hear are actually going to be 4 and 6. 4, oops, there we go. Actually hear 4 and 6 here. That's 4 and 6. And then back to 3 and 5. So the relationship of these half steps here, when we're in a major scale and we start seeing these little symbols here called flats, this is going to be chromatic, which means we're taking notes that were not in this original set right here, and we're bringing them in, which, by the way, not necessarily chromatic, but the fact that there's flats, we're in a major scale, we're going to be bringing in notes that are outside of this set of 8 notes into the music. So that's, these two notes are outside of the original set of 8, back in. Now, when we go to 4 and 6, those are in the original set of notes. It actually creates a different feeling. And so it's the vibe between taking notes that are inside the original set of 8 and then taking notes that are outside the original set of 8, combining them together, and that's what creates that texture, that fun, playful texture. All right, let's keep it going. Oh, wow. Before I break this down, I'm a big Super Mario World guy. That's one of the first games that I really played a whole lot. And so I'm hearing this, I'm hearing dum 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 dee dum 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 diggity dum. I'm hearing that right away as I'm listening to this. Like, the connection is there. Now, let's go back and actually understand what's making this sound the way it does. All right, so in the first part here, we've got a 1, we've got a 5 of 5, to 5, back to 1. And I'll explain what all this is in a moment. All right, and that's repeated. So if we understand the harmony that's present here, we can hear we're in the key of C major. And in the key of C major, we start with the 1 chord. Dum 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 dum. Back to 1. So we have a 5 of 5 here, and let's understand because we got a bunch of 5 of things here. Whenever we have something that looks like this, where we have 5 and then we've got a slash and then we've got another chord, this is what we're going to call a secondary dominant. And what it means is just like we saw from the first piece of music where we had these notes that were borrowed from outside of our original set of 8, secondary dominants will contain notes that are borrowed from outside that original set of 8 notes. So it's taking things from outside. We call it outside the key because we think about these 8 notes here as creating, if we bring them all together, they create together a key. And when we take notes that are outside of the set of 8, that means they're going to be outside the key. And whenever we have a 5 of something, it means it's going to have at least one note that is outside of the key. So how does a 5 of something work anyway? Well, let's first understand how we get these Roman numerals. So we get these Roman numerals by combining notes together into different chords. So for example, in Roman numeral 1, the notes we would have are 1, 3, and 5. In Roman numeral 2, we'd have 2, 4, and 6. In Roman numeral 3, we're going to have 3, 5, and 7. In Roman numeral 4, we're going to have 4, 6, and then back to 1. In Roman numeral 5, we're going to have 5, 7, and 2. In Roman numeral 6, we're going to have 6, 1, and 3. And in Roman numeral 7, we're going to have 7, 2, and I know how math works, 4. Great. Okay, 7, 2, and 4. So we can see we're taking different combinations of these notes and bringing them into chords, and then we're representing those chords with Roman numerals. This is what that sounds like. Here's number 1 with 1, 3, 5. Here's 2, 4, 6. Here's 3, 5, 7. Here is 4, 6, 1. Here is 5, 7, 2. Here is 6, 1, 3. And then here is 7, 2, 4, and then we're back to repeating from the top, 1, 3, and 5. So here's what we have. We have 1, 3, 5 present here with Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 1. Then we have over here, we're going to have 5s, 5 of something, 5 of something, 5 of something, and then actually 5. Okay, and 6 we're also going to color green. Why? Because 6 and 1 share a whole bunch of notes. So if we look at the notes 1 has, it has 1, 3, and 5, and the note 6 has, it has 6, 1, 3. So 6 and 1 share the 1 and 3 notes. So they're actually closely related. All right, so if we look at this, we have these 5 of something. So 5 of somethings mean that it's going to be a 5 of one of these notes. So in the key of C here, where we have 1, 5 means we just count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we find the 5 of the 1. Now, what happens if we want to get, for example, a 5 of 5? Well, if we have a 5 of 5, and we think about the actual names of the notes, so the notes we have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The names would be C, D, E, F, G. Now, in music, after G, we don't go to H, we go straight back to A, and then we have B. C, D, F, G, A, B. And then after B, we go to C, and then it just keeps on going in the same order. So C is 1, and G is 5. Now, if we want to know what the 5 of G is, we're going to start counting from G as 1. So if G is 1, A is 2, B is 3. Now, I'll show you here. So G would be 1, A would be 2, B would be 3. What's next? C is going to be 4, and then D is going to be 5. So actually, we're going to bring in a D chord. In this case, it's going to be a D7 chord, a D major chord, here as being the 5 of 5. Now, because the D chord has a note in it, D, F sharp, A, you'll notice that this F does not have a sharp. This F sharp right here, this is the note that's from outside the key that we're borrowing and bringing in. So we have a borrowed note that's going to create a 5 of 5. Now here you can see we have a 5 of 6. Well, how does that work? Okay, so what's the 6? The 6 is A. All right, so let's pretend A is 1 now. So if A is 1, now B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is going to be 5. And all the notes from the E is going to be E, G sharp, and B. And as you may notice right here, this G does not have a sharp after it, so the borrowed note is going to be G sharp, which is why we have it be a 5 of 6, because then it leads us to the 6. And I'll explain to you how 5s lead to things in just a moment here. Then we have here the 5 of 5 again. That is again the same idea, that D here leading to the G. So what is it about 5s that are so special that they lead us somewhere? Well, 5s create traditional tension, and I would even call it objective tension. But the reason why I'm calling it objective and also traditional is because your ears have been inculcated, yes, that's right, like brainwashed. Your ears have been brainwashed to hear 5 as tension. It's a cultural phenomenon where 5 creates tension and 1 creates resolution. Now, there's some other reasons for it past that, but at a broad level, I'd really like to point to cultural conditioning of your ears. So we have this 5. 5 always creates tension. That's also why up here I'm coloring it red. 5 creates tension, and that tension in music generally wants to resolve somewhere, or a better way of saying it is it creates a satisfying feeling of resolution when it does in fact resolve. So here we can see the 5 of 5 resolves where? To 5. The 5 of 6 resolves where? To 6. The 5 of 5 resolves where? To 5. And then this 5 ultimately resolves to 1. Just like this 5 right here resolves to 1. So it's not always that you're going to see a 5 resolve to a 1, but a lot of times you sure are. All right, let's keep on rocking. Interesting. All right. Five of 6. Five. I'm missing one piece here of the puzzle, which is perhaps. Oh, it's going twice as fast. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then our A here is going to be like 1 over 7. I'm going to call it 1 over flat 7, aka the 5 of 4, to a 5 of 2, and then it goes to a 4, a 7, fully diminished 7 of 5, to 1 in first inversion, to 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. Bro, that moves fast. All right, let's take it from the top. Oh yeah, no. All right, so this 7 here, I'm going to call it, this is not perfect, but directionally correct. Let me a 7 diminished, not a 6, but a 7, and indeed diminished. Okay, so, and then this flat 7 here also seems to work as just a flat 7 as well. Would work there. Okay, and then we have a 5 of 2. All right, so it starts off 1, kind of 7 diminished, 2. You can either think about it as 1 with a flat 7 in the bass, or indeed flat 7 itself, to a 5 of 2. This create a chromatic descending bass line, to a 4, 7 diminished, 7 fully diminished 7 of 5, to 1 with 5 in the bass, to 6, 2, 5, 1. And then the C section, we've got a 5 of 6 to 6, 5 of 5 to 5, and then in like what I'm called the D section is a 1 to a 5 of 5 to a 5 to a 1. So we can actually see in the same key, we're still in the key of C major, these chord progressions getting reused. So we can actually see over here the A section. I'm going to circle it in blue. Apologies if you're colorblind. It's going to be the last thing that I circled here. The A section here showing up same chord progression right here. So similar chord progressions, same key, is going to create a feeling of continuity between these pieces of music. Also, man, really cool just to think about the bass line that's used here in the A section. So the bass line's going C, B, B flat, A, and then it's going F. We'll call it F sharp. Yeah, I know I'm mixing sharps and flats. That's okay. G, and then to A, and then it does a 2, 5, 1. So what we can see here is a descending chromatic bass line where it's going down by half step, half step, half step, and now it's coming up by half step, half step. Super, super cool. And remember that half step is the smallest distance between two notes in traditional Western music culture. And it's like that Jaws thing right there. All right, let's keep it going. All right, so let's break this down. Yeah, and let's grab that. All right, so we got like, sounds to me like fourths and fifths, and moving chromatically. Again, if you missed this part, go back to the start of the stream. Moving chromatically is in. Is it? Where do we go from there? Oh, so cool. Oh, no way. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. All right, so it's a mix of fourths and fifths. Let's understand what fourths and fifths are, and then I'm gonna break this down a little bit more for you. Okay, so a fourth, for example, is if we start on 1, and then we skip 2, 3, and we go straight to 4, and we just play 1 and 4 at the same time. So for example, in the key of C, we'd have C and F. Now, for example, a fifth is where we're just gonna have 1 and 5 and play them together at the same time. So in the key of C, we'd have C and G. And what we have in this piece of music, the distinct sonic characteristic that's creating this emotion, whatever the emotion is for you. For me, it's creating a feeling of like, oh, it's mysterious, it's a little dark, and we're searching for something, is the emotion it creates for me. Let me know what emotion it creates for you in the chat or in the comments if you're watching afterwards. Now, what we have here is a mix of fourths and fifths. It's not all fifths, and it's not all fourths. So it starts off with fourths, moving chromatically, and then fifths, fifths, fourths, fourths. So we have like a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, 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 and then it goes fifth, fifth, fourth, fourth. Yeah, and then hits a whole bunch of fourths, and then 2 more fifths. Now, the really cool thing here is like it's also outlining. It's like we're in the key of F. All right, so if we treat this like we're in the key of F, we have. Well, the first 3 sounds, I don't find it very useful to think about those as being in the key of F. We can think about them relative to the key of F. I would just treat those as like a chromatic fourth idea. Chromatic fourths, but then it goes, sorry. So we have, that's a power chord in F. That's gonna be an F5. So that's gonna be a 1-5. That's gonna be a flat 7-5. And now that's back, gonna be back to 1-5, and I'm gonna call it in first inversion over 5. It's gonna be second, well, first inversion power chord in inversion, and then to flat 3. Again, 5. And again, the power chord in inversion. I'm going to explain what that is in just a moment here. So if we think about a power chord, typically 1's the lowest note and 5's the highest note. Now, what happens if we take 5 and make it the lowest note, right? Then we have 5, 1. We're going to call that an inversion. It's a switching of the order of the notes. And then it goes to 4. Again, power chord. Again, I'm going to call that first inversion. And then flat 7, 1. Again, power chords, and again, in inversion. And then it goes, this time out of inversion. These are going to be regular fifths. 1, 2, flat 3. Again, all 5. And for these, I'd call this F minor 2. And repeating. We'll get it this time. There it is. Again. Cool stuff. Really cool stuff. All right, let's keep it going. That's my childhood. That's also back to our overground. Interesting. This is the overground theme that we heard in the first one. Now it's being called Dark World. Really interesting. And, interestingly, what's happening here is just like we heard in the sped up version, the hurry version, in Super Mario Bros. The original, there's only one instance of the A pattern in the melody. So we have ba 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 don't boom do dee don't diggle. That does not repeat, right? Normally when we hear this piece, that repeats a second time. We hear dum 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 but don't do dee dum but diggle. We hear that twice. Then it goes never do dum 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 never do dum ba ba dum that repeats. So we have two A's and two B's, but what we're hearing here, just like we did in the hurry along version, there's no second A. It goes out of the A straight into the B. How cool is that? But this time without the added speed. Next. All right, really interesting stuff going on with this boss fight. Really, really cool stuff. So let's understand first what the lowest note is doing, because really I like to think about this as two parts. All right, there's a low notes, and then there's a high notes parts. So the low note part is doing this. Type with 3 in the chat if you can hear the guitar is matching the music. So we have this, it's like an F sharp to an F to a G sharp to a G. So we got like this F sharp business to F, then we've got G sharp to G. So let's understand what this pattern is. This pattern is that it's descending by a half step. It's going down. We're going down a half step, and then we're going up, and then we're going again down a half step. Now on top of that, there's some cool stuff going on. So this is the chord that's created at first, which is a diminished chord. It's like minus the fifth. Okay, so it's like, basically it's a diminished chord. So this is like an F sharp, fully diminished 7, but we're omitting the fifth. Omit 5. Let's actually make this just a little bit. There we go. Omit 5. All right. And that right there is kind of like an F. And listen, there's so many different names you could give this. Oh, sorry, this is F sharp. All right, F sharp, diminished 7, omit 5. Then we have something along the lines of an F minor 7, again, omit 5. And then the pattern repeats. We're going to have a G sharp, fully diminished 7, again, no 5 or omit 5, and then to that G minor 7, omit 5. Now, that's all well and good to understand the names of things, but let's understand what's actually happened here, the mechanism that gets it to sound the way it does. So first, we have these half steps descending here. The second is we have these dissonant chords. I'm going to go ahead and call this dissonant. And even right here, we have in the upper voices, we have a tritone. So we have, instead of it being 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, like we talked about with the power chords, it's actually in between 1 and 4 and 1 to 5. We have 1, 2, flat 5. Another way of saying that would be 1, 2, sharp 4, and that creates the interval of a tritone. Why? Because it's 3 whole steps in distance. That's 1, 2, 3. 3 whole steps in distance, tritone, which creates a dissonant interval. And I'll play it one more time a little bit better than that. So here's the tritone. Now on the top it's a 4th. Tritone again. And a 4th again on top. So there's this alternating between tritone and then a perfect 4th, tritone, and then a perfect 4th in the upper structure of the chord. Tritone, perfect 4th, tritone, perfect 4th, and then this chromatic business going on down here. And that together creates a dissonant sound and a dissonant feeling. All right, let's keep it rocking. And next. Yeah, next. Oh, with the percussion? Okay, so either I got it wrong yesterday or they changed it slightly for this one. One of the two. What we're hearing, again, it's like two parts of this piece of music. We have the lower structure and the upper structure. The lower structure here. Which means it's outlining, we're in the key of C major, and it's outlining a 2 minor chord arpeggiated in first inversion, and then we have a 1 power chord that's being done in the lower part. So if we actually think about the notes that are being played, we have an F, A, D that are being played here, and then we have a C, G, C that's being played here. So this F-A-D, it's arpeggiated. So what's an arpeggio? An arpeggio is a broken chord. So understand what a chord is. It's a group of notes together. And then if we take that group of notes together and we break it apart, again, and separate the notes, that creates a broken chord, which is an arpeggio, is a broken chord. So if I have to play these at the same time, it creates a D minor. And then if I play these together, it creates a C5, or C power chord. And then on top of it, so it's actually implying fully a D. Let's see if we. That's creating a D minor 7. We take the melody note. Kind of awkward to play, but we're doing it. And the only way I can play it is by sticking my tongue out of my mouth. Yeah, so we have in the upper structure of the melody, we have, well, just the upper structure of what's going on here, we have a C to a B. So that all the notes we hear at the same time here, if we were to sum all them up, we have an F, A, D, C, which I'm going to call a D minor in first inversion, aka D minor over F. And then if we were to summarize all the notes we hear here, we hear a C, a G, and a B, which I'm going to call a C major 7, no 3, or omit 3. Cool stuff. Let's keep on rocking. One more time. Oops. Oh, hold on. Oh, we're past it now. Wart Battle. Oh, that reminds me of Pokemon. Dude, yo, the connection to Pokemon Battle theme here is strong. Wow. Even when it goes to the B section there. Whoa. So right there, dee da doo dee da doo da, in Pokemon. Whoa. Yeah, the cross between this and Wild Battle, like for real. Go listen to the Pokemon Battle music and then come back and listen to this. Wow. Like even that rhythmic figure, dee da doom dee da doom. That's all over Pokemon battle music. Wow, what a connection! What a connection! That is so cool. Wow, truly, truly wow. You know, Rubberman. I'm gonna do the next one. Rubberman 2 said in the chat. I wonder if Junichi Masuda was inspired by Koji Kondo. Here's my question for you: who is not inspired by Koji Kondo? Because I feel like that's a much more manageable list for us to go figure out. I'm just gonna put this out there. Like, let's go find the people who have not been influenced by Koji Kondo, because that list is gonna be small and it's gonna be dusty because no one's looked at it in a while, in my opinion. Just one man's opinion. Like, if I'd say I have not been influenced by, like, if you create video game music, here's the interesting thing. You could be influenced by Koji Kondo, but not know that you're influenced by Koji Kondo because you're actually influenced by someone who is influenced by Koji Kondo. Do you follow me? So it's like you could be 1 or 2 or 3 generations of musicians removed by Koji Kondo, and you're still inspired by Koji Kondo, technically speaking. It's like, for guitarists, it's like everything goes back to like Robert Johnson, Django Reinhardt, Andre Segovia. There's like there's like 3 or 4 guitar players that like all guitar players can be traced back to in terms of inspiration. And like, man, Koji Kondo is like, find me a video game composer that we cannot in some way trace back to Koji Kondo. So like that list is gonna be all like that would be the list to make. So if you can figure that out, you go ahead and put that in the comments somewhere on one of my videos, and maybe we'll make another video about it. Like the one person who's not influenced by Koji Kondo. Yeah. Whoa, snazzy. Oh, this has a lot more to it than I thought there was gonna be. This is really cool. Some Pachelbel action. We will still be friends forever. Flat 6 to 1. 5 of 5. 5. Oh, we'll go back and grab the beginning here, because I don't think it's gonna loop. This is cool. This whole thing is like... Alright. There we go. Yeah, again, using the flat 7 as opposed to the 1 over flat 7. So here, I'm going to call this 1 over 7. Then I'm going to call it straight up flat 7 to 6 minor. Flat 6. That's 1 in second inversion. And that's 2, 5. And then there's a flat 6, flat 7, that then brings us back to 1. Beautiful stuff. So what do we see here? We see a descending bass line of 1, 7, flat, come on baby, flat 7, there we go, to 6, to flat 6, to 5, and then it goes, 2, 5, and then bring us back up flat 6, flat 7, 1. Now this flat 6, flat 7, 1, we heard this in Super Mario Bros. 1. It was like the victory theme. Same key, same exact chords. And as I posited and asked a question, I wonder if that flat 6, flat 7, 1 in Super Mario Bros. 1 was the first instance of that chord progression ever to be heard in an OST, ever. Was the question. All right, some beautiful stuff here. Let's see, is there more to this OST? Oh no, we did it. Wow, fantastic. Hey, if you are a gamer who wants to make your own music, just to let you know, I put a pinned comment in the chat for you. I also put it in the description. And it's for, I've got this thing called the Gamer Music Creator Guild. It's a group of folks that come together to create their own music, and they're gamers, and we help them out and give them everything they need to be able to do that. And I created a free packet for you to get started at no cost. You just put your email in, and there's a link in the chat, also in the description. You click that, you get a whole bunch of free lessons for you to get started creating your music right away. And my whole thing is helping gamers create music, because I'm a gamer, I create music, I know how much fun it is. It's changed my life, and it's changed the lives of so many people I've seen, not just people who I've helped personally, but just other people I've seen. I know this is just a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to do. And if you want to create music, you'll have a ton of fun with this, and we make music together. So go ahead, check that out in the description and in the pinned comment. And with that, we did it. Take care and goodbye.